What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin, and this is a video about Death Knights, and particularly Death Knight tanking. This isn't a guide. I'm not going to tell you what your stat priorities and shit are. This is mainly an add-on sort of guide type of thing. Anyway, if you're like me, you're a lazy asshole who doesn't want to have to think too much when he's playing video games, or at least when he's playing World of Warcraft. You just want to get in there and push some buttons and be cool. So there's a lot of add-ons in World of Warcraft that help you do that. One such add-on is a good add-on called TellMeWhen. If you've never heard of TellMeWhen, I'll put a link to it in the description. But it's basically a very simple add-on. Well, it's not. It has a simple premise. Basically, you can just make icons pop up on the screen when things happen. And so the most basic example is when something's off cooldown, you can make an icon pop on the screen. But when you actually go into the settings, there is actually a lot of really cool things you can do, and you can use this add-on to make your rotations and things like that a lot more simple. So this particular video is going to be about DK tanking. I recently hit level 100 on my DK, and I basically leveled the entire way from 90 to 100 tanking dungeons. In my opinion, that's the quickest way to level. So that's what I decided to do, but I wanted it to be simple. I just wanted to queue up, didn't want to have to think too much. So I'm just going to show you how I set up TellMeWhen to facilitate that. So this video is just how to make DK tanking easy with TellMeWhen. Now, if you see, I've got a lot of icons here, and some of these are not blood DK icons. I just added all of these to this little bar here, but they're not all gonna pop up. You can set them to pop up when you need them to pop up. But anyway, so I'll just go through the moves that I have here, and we can go from there. So basically, the main moves you need to set up with TellMeWhen are going to be Death Strike, Blood Boil, Death Coil, and fucking, I forgot what it's called, Soul Reaper. And if you've ever tanked with a Blood DK, you understand why those moves are needed. So I'll start with the most simple one, which is Death Coil. And with TellMeWhen, I mean, I'm not going to tell you about how to set up the add-on. Like, it's easy, you can just do that. But go to set up TellMeWhen, or open up TellMeWhen. You'll have a little bar here. You drag an icon onto the bar. I've already done that. And then you can go to the settings. I think this one should be pretty simple. Basically, you want Death Coil to just pop up whenever it's usable, whenever you have enough runic power to use Death Coil. So this is just pretty simple. You just kind of slide this on here and just make sure that this is checked, usable. So this icon will pop up when it's usable, and when it's unusable, it will be invisible. So that's simple. Blood Boil, that's another one. Blood Boil is a little more complicated, but not that complicated. Again, you want this to be pop up when it's usable, and you want it to be invisible when it's not usable. But for the most effective blood DK tanking, you don't want to use too many death runes on Blood Boil, because you want to save those for your Death Strike. So what I did is I go in this add-on TellMeWhen, you go to conditions here, and you can set a condition. So the conditions are extra conditions that have to be met before this icon pops up. So you go to the conditions tab, and the type of condition, you want to go to resources, runes. And I'm not gonna go too in depth, but basically I check the blood rune. So what that means is this icon won't pop up unless I have a blood rune available. So that prevents it from using death runes. Like, it will only come up if I have a blood rune available. So, and the way this works, like if I wanted it if I wanted it to have 2 blood runes available, I would click 2 of them. And if I wanted it to have one only, like if I wanted it to have like 1 blood rune but no frost runes, I would click an X. So that's how that works. So I only want blood boil to pop up when I have a blood rune, because I only want to use blood runes on blood boil. Easy. Then we have Death Strike, and Death Strike is one of the most important moves, of course, for blood DK. And as usable, I want it to be show when it's usable and not show when it's unusable. I have this checked, but this doesn't really matter that much, because it's like what you can do is, if you don't want the icons to be completely invisible, you can instead show a timer, like a cooldown timer. But I prefer it to just be invisible until I need it. So this part doesn't matter for me. But for Death Strike in general, and you can, if you want, if this isn't the way you like to do it, the way you like to tank, then feel free to change. But I don't want to use Death Strike unless unless I need health. Now, obviously, when you do Death Strike, if you Death Strike at 100%, you get a bit of a shield. But in general, most people save Death Strike for when they actually are less than 100% health. So basically, I set up another condition for Death Strike. And this is, you just go here and go to resources again, but this time go to percent health. And then for percent health, then for the unit, you put player, because that's you. And I put less than 90% health, because I want to give my healer a chance to top me off if possible. But if it gets lower than 90%, then my Death Strike icon will pop up. Just keep in mind, when it says usable, that takes into account any resources that you need. So this will only pop up when you have both, when you have when I have the resources and when my health is below 90%. And then finally, we have Soul Reaper. Now, if you've ever played a DK, you know how Soul Reaper works. You pretty much only want to use it on targets that are below 35% health. So again, usable, unusable. This one, I actually have it displayed. You see here, unusable. I don't have it at 0%, or I don't have it unchecked. I have it at 84%. And then I also have a timer and timer text. And you'll kind of see how that works probably later in the video, when I sort of explain, or when I sort of exhibit this in action. But first of all, go to the condition. Pretty simple. Again, percent health, this time target, and less than or equal to 35%, because that's how Soul Reaper works. So this will not pop up unless they're at 35, unless the target is below 35% or lower. But it will pop up if I don't have the resources for it. It will still pop up, and I just want to do that because I want to be ready for it. So if they're at below 30% health, but I don't have the resources, it will pop up, but it will be a little bit faded, and it will have a timer showing me when my next resource will come up for me to use it. So that's the way I like to do it. You can obviously play around with that yourself. So that's the basic of the icons that I'm going to put on my TellMeWhen bar here. And once I exit the config mode, you see that it all disappears. And the only one that's up right now is Blood Boil, because that's the only one that meets the conditions right now. I have a blood rune, so this is currently up, and I can use it if I need to, like this. Alright, so there's a couple other things that don't require the add-on that I do just to make everything easier. If you notice, when I hit Blood Boil, my bone shield popped up. And that's because I have it macroed. I personally macro bone shield to all of my moves. Well, not all of them, but all of my main rotation moves. So you see here, I'll show you my add-ons. See Blood Boil right here, cast bone shield, cast Blood Boil. I have it macroed to that. I have it macroed to Death Coil, and I also have it macroed to Death Strike. On Death Coil, you notice I also have blood tap macro to it. Again, I'm lazy, I don't want to have to think, so I just have this added, and it'll just cast blood tap pretty frequently and just as often as possible, because I use this a lot. This whole thing is about being lazy, and that helps me out. But yeah, so attaching Bone Shield to your main rotation spells will make sure that it stays up as much as possible. Also, you want to, again, this is sort of getting into guide territory, and I don't really need to teach you how to play the game. That's up to you. But just a couple things. You know that blood DKs have a lot of cooldowns and stuff. You've got anti-magic shell. I honestly, like when I was leveling from 90 to 100, I barely used that except in very specific fights. You may have to use it more often in like heroics and raiding, but it's good to have. Dancing rune weapon, again, I didn't use it that much. I just used it when in like oh shit situations where I felt like maybe like some asshole pulled too many fucking groups, or maybe my healer was, you know, snared or stunned or something, and I started using stuff like that. But rune tap and vampiric blood, these are things that I use all the time. There's no reason not to use these all the time. They have short cooldowns. Vampiric blood has 1 minute cooldown. Rune tap has 2 charges and 30-second recharge time. There's no reason not to use this every boss fight, and honestly there's no reason not to use it on a lot of trash pulls as well. I chose death pack. I chose Death Pack talent. A lot of people choose different ones. That's the one I like because it is just easiest. Again, this is all about being easy. So I chose Death Pack. All it does is just heals you for a shit ton. So if you're in a fight and you're getting low, just pop fucking Death Pack. It has a 2 minute cooldown, which isn't that high. Just pop it. It's easy. All right, now I actually leveled this character for PvP, so I'm not going to be doing too much tanking. So previous to 100, I used Death and Decay, but of course I took Defile just in case. That's probably what you might want to take as a tank anyway, because it makes people do less damage to you. But anyway, Death and Decay, obviously that's a basic move. I think I also bound Bone Shield to Death and Decay or Defile, but again, you can use that to pull. You can use that on boss fights. I would use it on cooldown. You get your procs that give you a free Death and Decay. I almost always use my Death and Decay for that. So that's easy. And then finally we have Dark Command. It's a basic taunt ability. You understand how that works. You need to have it on your bar. Alright, as I'm queuing into this dungeon, there's one more cooldown that I forgot to talk about. And that is the Icebound Fortitude here. And that's your biggest defensive cooldown, I would say. It makes you take like no damage for, well, it's 50% less damage, but it's noticeably like you just become a tank, a mega tank for a couple seconds, and that's just your super oh shit cooldown. Like, oh my god, I am going to die, or I'm about to take a lot of damage. Again, I didn't use that much in the normal dungeons because they're fucking easy, but anyway, I'm in a dungeon here and I'm just gonna show you how this works. It's literally fucking whack-a-mole. You just fucking hit whatever's up. Obviously the first thing you need to do is put your diseases on people. Why is this here? But other than that, you just whack-a-mole. So let's pull some people here. Spread my diseases here, and then it's easiness. See, I just hit what's up. You just make sure you have threat, whatever method that you use to monitor your threat. I use tidy plates. The color of the nameplates change based on threat, so that's what I do. Make sure the diseases are spread, and then Just do that. See, death strike's up, so do that. So as soon as they're up, you just push the button. It's easy, guys. And when you, obviously when you have your buff, you get a free D&D or a free blood boil. I'm gonna use it on D&D here. I pulled a lot of people here, so I'm gonna pop my cooldowns. I'm like level 100 here, so it shouldn't be too much of a big deal, but. And it doesn't, it's like, I'm not even looking, dude. I could even pop my fucking death pack here. And obviously this is not the best, you know, it's not the most accurate thing to do, but it's like, whatever, you know? Who cares? Another thing, and you know, you can do whatever you need to do. Like, for example, if you think you need to, you can focus on death strikes. Like, I can like hit empower wound weapon and fucking just spam death strikes if I just need a bunch of health. But it's like, you know, I don't. It's all about being lazy. It's just about getting through the dungeon, dude. It's all it's about. You can like, I can just stand here really and just hit shit as it pops up. In these normal dungeons, I don't really have to change targets. You can if you need to. When it comes to bosses, obviously you need to know how the bosses work, but other than that, it's still like easy. I like to ready check in dungeons just to make sure, because I don't trust people. It's easy. I'm just gonna let them come back to me. And I'm literally just looking at my icons and hitting them as they come up. Real easy, guys. I got a free D&D, so I'm gonna drop that right now. You notice my bone shield is popping up. I didn't even do my Horn of Winter because I forgot. And obviously, come on. You know the mechanic. Don't tank inside the shit, okay? Like I said, there's really no reason not to use Vampiric Blood all the time because it has a low cooldown. And yeah, I'm clicking because I don't have a good keybind because I haven't been tanking. I've just been playing PvP on my other specs, so I haven't. But again, it's fucking, who cares? It's lazy. We're not pro right now. All right. We're just trying to get through the dungeon, guys, without thinking. What is this DPS? This DPS is awful. And there you go. Hopefully you get an idea of what I'm saying. TellMeWhen is a great add-on. You can use it for any kind of tanking, or even for DPS. I use it on some of my DPS stuff. Like you saw earlier, I have it for my Frost spec. Maybe I'll do some other class guides if you guys enjoyed this one. But I'm all about being lazy and just getting through the dungeons, guys. So if you're into that, you might enjoy this video. Anyway, thanks for watching. I guess I'll continue this dungeon. I don't know. I might drop out because I don't really want to do this. I hate this dungeon. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later.